Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of Printer Race with Tyson. This is T-Drum3D. We're going to do a race against our 3D printer. We're going to print the Calibration cube today on the Ender 5. It's warmed up and ready to go. Let me get that print going right now. Print. All right, so you can see the bed's lowered, but it's going to raise up. I'm going to go ahead and get the game going now. So we are playing Hades today. We're going to be racing the Calibration cube to see if I can finish the boss before the print finishes.
Baraffa hungers.
Hades is a game made by Supergiant Games, an indie developer who's made Bastion and quite a few other fun games. But I've fallen in love with it. It's been a really fun roguelike game, and I think you'll have fun with me. So I've set up some prerequisites. Haven't. There we go. So we see the printer moving. That means I'm running out of time. So you play as Zagreus. You are the son of Hades in the underworld, and the gods help you along. So you get to pick boons that help you throughout the process.
Shocking.
It's an isometric game, and you play per stage. You can only proceed unless you beat all the enemies per stage.
Alright, who's next?
One of the real neat things about this game is that the progression changes every time you play. The stages are never the same, and they're never laid out the same. So it makes it for a unique playthrough each and every time. So you're seeing me play with an aspect of the Stygius weapon, which is the sword. As you go through all the different levels, you get different types of enemies that can be extremely frustrating. Some of them deflect the attacks back at you, and others explode in your face. So that little area around me enables enemies to be a little slower. Alright, so my special goes wider, or do I want more money for my attack? I think, although, let's do wider special. I'm on a time crunch.
Come die again.
Now I can't see the cube as it's printing, so I'll be kind of taking my graces with the 35 minutes. Oh, let's go with some Zeus here. Zeus can be really fun with the chain lightning effects. So if I can trap them in my slow zone, the lightning can kind of take them out of this. Hold still.
In the name of Hades.
Alright, the cast won't be too bad. Yeah. That's going to bounce between enemies, and that'll help us out a lot. Oh, it's got a range, okay. So with these little consumables, I have to go collect them each and every time before I can use them again. Get back here.
Hello, Lord Ares.
Ares gives boons that help bleed out enemies, and sometimes you can even get stuff to replace your previous ones. I'm gonna pick Battle Rage because it helps me boost my next attack. Some of the penalties for stepping on the trap are not too bad, but in later bits where you can actually add difficulty, it's called heat, those traps and other enemies become a lot more deadly. I've enabled the range of them right now. Some of them last longer or hit harder, or there's more enemies, for example. Now, a little bit about my printer. I have an Ender 5 that I've taken the time to modify with a big tree tech board, the SKR Turbo 1.4, and it's running a few silent drivers, the TMC 2209s. The install was a little painful because I had no idea what I was doing. Much like jumping into a pool without knowing how to swim. It was fun. I learned the hard way, and I think I'm better for it. We've dialed in the printer pretty well, and I'm pretty happy with it.
You're back. Welcome. You give
Sisyphus, one of my favorite characters. I'm gonna pick a little bit of money. We can use that for later.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, lots of enemies. So with the boon that I got from Ares earlier, whenever I kill an enemy, you see the red around my head. It helps basically increase the next attack's ability. So I can get a chain going. So for those D&D folks that play out there, kind of like Cleave and Great Cleave, I can kind of keep going. I'm going to add to that. Level 2.
Got some zest.
300. Let's save that money.
Gods grant me strength.
Boost it even further. Let's take on the sisters. So this is our first major boss.
Hope I didn't keep you waiting, ladies.
Much as I love chatting with
We're
you,
going to talk with Electo today.
Tiffany.
All three of the sisters have a range of abilities, so every time you play, they do different things. That trap tried to bite me.
She's charging out.
Ow. Electo, Megara, and Symphony are the sisters' names. Much like most siblings do. They're pretty different. Symphony likes to talk about murdering. Megara is actually pretty cool and has a personality, whereas Electo is just rage. I think she's like Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls, really. Fury's vanquished.
She won't like this. That's mine.
So that was our first stage. Tartarus, if I remember right. Get a little heal. And I think we're gonna go with Athena because she has the ability to reflect, and so if we can get some reflect going on with our attack,
Let's go.
I think we're going to have a good advantage. Tonight's beverage brought to you by A&W Root Beer.
Made it to Asphodel.
So sometimes, depending on how much heat or extra difficulty you have, you can take these little extra drops into what's called Erebus. But if you get hit, you suffer no major consequences, but you don't get any rewards. So it's kind of a bummer.
I'm empty.
I don't like these guys. Hold still. So this is where chain effects can come into handy, because if I can group them all together and slow them down at the same time, it just kind of takes them all out. With this aspect, I really like it because of how wide the range is. So it's not just that it's powerful, it also gets an area of effect. So with that lightning, it kind of lends me a greater advantage. Oh, some Hermes boost. Let's see what that'll give me.
Got to fight. More bone raiders.
The fishing later, because I can't do that while I'm racing the bench. I've got 2 printers in my arsenal. I've got an Ender 5 Pro, but it's one of the newer ones of the family and hasn't been quite tuned in as much. See how things are going. All right, so hyper sprint. So after I dash, I kind of get a little protection, except for myself. Yeah, area effect. That's right.
Welcome.
I am the god of blood. Actually, Zagreus is the god of blood, which is a cool little fact. It plays a lot like a visual novel would, with how you get the tidbits in the story, but it's an action game. So it's a weird conglomerate. Let's add a little bit of lightning damage to our attacks. Here recently I've had an interest in wanting to print smaller things, especially jewelry type things. I'd love to get a resin printer again, but man, are they expensive. They are detailed though. I have a few models up that I'll probably post some pictures of. Dionysus's boons are really great because they actually slow things way down. Like those are shielded. So with enemies like this, I have to take out sort of the mini boss before I can get rid of some of the other ones. Well, that's where I have to hunt down those little consumables. I'd really like for you to die. Taking longer than it needs to. Sometimes with the way the boons stack, you find yourself at a disadvantage for the type. One of my favorite parts about the whole thing was the special hangover. That's exactly what I want. So whenever they come into the area of effect, they're even slower. So that one I have one revive, and as long as I don't die, I have the ability to keep going. So I'm not too worried about that. But if I fool around, I've only got 59 health. With my taking the direction I have with the race, I have limited time. I kind of have to get as much done as I can in one room as I can in time.
Cheers.
Let's go for some Hermes.
Focus.
We're saving up our money for later on when we get some better boons.
In the name of Hades.
Based on movement speed. So because I'm moving fast, I might as well take advantage of that. Here's our second major boss. Arnie.
Why must we always fight like this, Lenny?
So this one's an interesting battle because he puts out all sorts of mini bosses that you kind of have to take care of before you can move on. I don't think I'm gonna make it, am I? I'll have to play it smart then. One at a time.
Yes. Not yet.
Need some lightning.
I'm out.
If I don't take care of those little guys, they spawn more enemies, which cause even more havoc for me.
Don't do that.
All right, next round. One of the important bits is to keep moving, and if I don't, I'm going to find myself as a squished bug.
I can't.
All right. How to finish you off. Not get hit along the way. Die! Thank you. That was pretty close. Dies in the middle of his run. Next stage. The music is fantastic. I think I love that more than the art. We're gonna keep the same boons we have because I think we're gonna get some cool stuff later, or at least I hope. Oh, so Elysium, you find yourself in some of the hardest enemies, the trickiest, because they have armor or they do different attacks. And these little jerks respawn if you don't kill them fast enough. That's right, sit in that trap kill.
same mistake twice.
Alright, so we get the dash reflect, which is important because now whenever I dash, any attacks that come at me, I can reflect back at the enemies. So I can combine that with attacks that get slowed down with the Dionysus in the shield there, which is special, and things stack nicely. Just have to keep my momentum so I don't get stuck in each level. I have a feeling based off my pattern right now that I'm not gonna get the speed I need. We shall see. Alright, so it's even larger now than it was before. We're gonna spend our money now. Let's take a boost to the battle rage,
I commend you for your efforts.
and we will, after I take damage, I'll gain the ability to reflect even more. Awesome. Oh, dual wounds are going to be difficult. Why did I pick that? Oh. Sorry, Ares. Gotta pick somebody. Ill advised. We'll see about that.
Damned either way, I guess.
So with those guys, the trick is to take out the enemies that are the darkest first. Whenever they're the dual boons, I actually get 2 boons, but I get the disfavor from 1, so I have to beat all of his henchmen before I get the boon. Damn you, multiple stages. The music always leaves you on kind of a weird feeling where you're not quite sure, or maybe like a suspenseful feeling, and I like that. After you take damage, I will give you a curse. We get to fight the Minotaur. Asterius has a really mean swing and a long range, but if you stay away from him, you won't be much in trouble. Getting behind him is probably the most important, because then you can kind of get, if you've got it, there's another skill for damage from behind. So you almost have to treat him like guerrilla warfare, because if you don't, he'll charge at you all the time. So get your attack in and then move. You can't stay in one spot for too long. And I'm used to him fighting him without that shield, so I need to kind of adjust how far I am away from him.
Don't do that.
I mean, the other ones. Oh, really? Huh? Not quick enough. I keep getting zapped. I do have one more life. I'm trying not to use it. This fight is not very fun. Or, I mean, forgiving. He's about to go down now. There we go.
Well done. I yield.
with the armor as well.
Olympus, I accept this message.
I'm gonna take more lightning than Zeus's call. We'll see if we can get a better call later. You can gain the favor of an Olympian and they'll help you with a bigger battle, but it kind of charges up God boost, if you will. Now, I'm not the fastest player in the world, so I've got my cube set up for 40, I think it was 40 millimeters a second. We are using the Airy One filament, and it's going to be the Sparkle Blue. I was really liking that filament, it's really nice and smooth.
Not yet.
That's what I get for trying to use those without collecting them first. Really like to move on from the stage. All right.
The otherworld's power.
So after this cube, I had intended on printing something else, but I wasn't entirely sure. I always have a selection of new mugs, new dice towers, as well as new busts. If anyone has any recommendations, I'll be free to take them.
Never.
Each your own attack.
More.
I've only been doing 3D printing for under a year now, maybe, and I picked it up and I ran with it. It was super fun and frustrating, but it's been really rewarding. I find that the more time you put into your printer and the more tuning you put into it, the happier you'll be with the outcome of what you print.
If you can make it.
There were quite a few frustrating moments where I didn't want to continue because I didn't think that I had quality equipment, or maybe I didn't understand some of the terminology like calibrating the E-steps. Oh, a legendary boon, all right. But once I understood some of those terms and the community guided me along, I was able to get that understanding and use it as a tool set in my
Rematch.
bench of tools to kind of do new things. So I've learned all sorts of new skills, applied them, and it's been fun. Printed with new materials. No one ever wants to admit the tough side of 3D printing where you have to calibrate the printer, or maybe the belts are loose, or maybe your bed is warped and you don't know why. But that's part of the fun, is the tinkering, I think. And some folks don't like that. They want the experience where you buy a Canon printer and plug it in and install the driver and that's all you have to do. But I think there's a sense of pride with the folks that tune their printers and get good results, because it doesn't just take someone who can plug it in and go. It takes someone who has the time, the patience, and the commitment to do it right. And I'm speaking as an owner of two Creality machines. I have two Ender 5s, which from the community's perspective is one of the more common printers because of the entry cost. And from some other community members can be looked down upon for the quality of parts and manufacturing. And let's be honest, they are hobby machines, and a lot of us push them to a lot more than that. The way we mod them and the way we add new things to them, they're no longer printers anymore, they're something else. Anyway, now that I'm off my little rant, I like to take care of the Minotaur first because Theseus is a pain in my neck. How could I?
You're next, kid.
So you have to stay out of his path, otherwise he will take you out. Get rid of that chariot. There we go.
I shall get you for this. Olympians, I call upon your aid.
You're gonna be cheap like that, huh? Might as well throw your spear at me, jerk.
Even faster than you've come to expect.
Just fall. Thank you.
That ought to shut him up. For safekeeping.
You didn't see it in this video, but Theseus is a bit of a loudmouth, and so he's really satisfying when you do beat him. It's like, yeah, shut up, take that.
Keeps
Alright,
us
we're gonna
safe.
switch it up, and I'm gonna go for some crit. Alright.
So close.
So some of the other gods, you get the ability to do effects like crits. In this case, oh god, I forget her name. Aphrodite? No, that's the love god.
It's nicer outside than it is in here.
I forget.
Why not?
So this room is the final room before the boss, and I have to
These
find
tunnels.
which one has the sack of food I need for Cerberus to get around.
Doesn't taste like anything.
The different types of enemies keep it fresh too, because after fighting, 6 different variations and larger versions in orange and yellow, the same types of enemies, it kind of gets boring. So it's neat to have enemies that do different things.
Wrong chamber?
Oh, stupid rat. These are tricky because they hit you hard and they're really hard to find and hit. That's why the boon we have, slow them down, will help us a lot. It usually calls for help though, so kind of expect that soon. Right on cue. That poison. You have to be careful with that poison. It will eat away your health and you don't even realize it. And I think the cube is done. Yep, we did not beat our cube.
I much prefer the gigantic dragon.
Hello again. You ready for this?
Well, I guess we can go ahead and just proceed on and beat the boss, which is still cool. Any damage I deal moving forward will have a +4 critical. I will take it. We'll take it all the way and we'll beat Hades with it. Let's take some extra health and a little bit of hangover. Which room? This one.
Let's see what's in here.
Sometimes you get lucky and it's the very first room, and sometimes you end up having to go through all of them. Let's keep it up. Now Hades is actually a pretty hard boss, but there's another boss that's even harder than him.
What's in the well this time?
Not spoiler material, so I won't discuss that, but he's pretty fun to fight.
What do I get?
Prometheus Stone. I forget what that does. Watching other folks play this game, doing it in under 10-15 minutes, it always really surprised me, but you have to have a really deep understanding of how the boons work together.
I've ever seen.
There's a sort of a compendium that you can access that lets you see a lot of that stuff. It's also helpful for the story, so if you don't catch everything in text, as fast action as this game can be, you can kind of go back and read and reflect.
What do I get?
As far as what I'm playing on, I am actually using a PS5 controller today. Synced up Bluetooth. Really liked the feel of it, and I don't have a PS5, but I really wanted the DualSense vibration, and syncing via Bluetooth through Steam, they've enabled that now, so awesome. Even emulated games through CMU for like Breath of the Wild work great, and it's surreal to have a controller like that do it, so. Well, we didn't beat the cube, but we will make sure to beat Hades. "35 minutes was a bit of a stretch, I guess. But I've done it in as little as 25 minutes, so it really varies. When I am not 3D printing, I'm usually consuming some form of media, whether it's audiobook or I play games a lot. Shooters mostly. Enjoy RPGs. I'm a huge D&D fan, which actually is what got me into the whole 3D printing venture in the first place. Dice Towers showed up with Kim Bori with Fate's End, and I really loved that all of the files were support free, because at the time I didn't have my printer dialed in enough to trust my support. So it was really nice just to hop in and have something that was quality produced that was awesome to look at. All projectiles are 50% slower. I will take it.
Coming back.
After the Dice Towers, I found the Eastman mugs, or not mugs, the busts. And those are really cool because he does a variance of all the different sci-fi characters, pop culture characters. Terminator, any number of original characters as well. My recent favorite has been Ars Moriendi with the mythic mugs. Mostly because they're the recent ones. The files don't take anywhere near as much, and they are a little bit quicker on the print. But they all have their fun. The next 3 encounters, I will get a drop. Sure. So those little sections over there are going to give you the ability to sell your boon if you wanted to. So if you were low on money, or if you knew you wanted to reject one of the boons in favor of another one, because you can only hold 3 major boons at any time. Give me that health. Oh, the wave's not over? So whenever I dash, it gets rid of or deflects the attack. So with that guy spitting that venom, really important that I pay attention to that and I can spit it back at him. Ah.
That hurt.
I really picked all the rooms. Wow, today was not a fun day for me.
Down the chute.
Well, since we know we didn't beat the cube, we can take the time to do some fishing. Fishing is really fun because you can get some extra bonus stuff that you can sell. Of course, it's timed. If you think you're going to get it and you grab it, it's too early. A lot of times I'll just like to close my eyes and go for the feel of the controller.
I got a scuffer.
A scuffer!
Here goes.
One of the ways you can kind of hack the health system too, like right now, is if I have 16 health, I can actually die and come back and it restores with more health than what I had in the first place, and then when I go to the next round, I'll have restored that one little life that I can use again and again. Like right now, I can let them kill me. And then I end up with some extra health, and when I go to the next round,
Cerberus must
that.
be starving. Just the foul sack I need.
Zagreus, I don't know about any foul sack, but that's on you, buddy.
Yum.
All right, Cerberus. Oh, we have enough for that other boon. Let's go ahead and try it.
Doing business.
My king, I was just inquiring with Lord Dionysus here. Under which circumstances are the greatest mortal feasts of all?
We're gonna get a double boon.
Because I have a certain hunch regarding that.
Are we gonna get a double boon? I think we are.
There is, I will hand it to you, man. There's nothing like a feast after a war, all right? Provided you're on the surviving side, that is.
Hangover effects deal damage faster. Sure.
Combined power.
Hi, Cerberus.
Cerberus moves for no one, but for Satyr-Sax, he can make an exception.
Nobody but the Satyr Sack. Scooby Snack.
I can go. I'm going to get you back the last time, you know.
Again, you draw me from all my
So
responsibilities.
Zagreus
back at
is
the house.
Hades' son. And without giving any spoilers away, you end up finding out through the plot. There's some twists and turns as to why folks do what they do. And it's very engaging. I've loved it, and I've sunk into over 500 hours into the game, and I would gladly pay more, or play more. So this boss is tricky at first because he has a wide range and he shoots after you. But really he's no different, I think, than Asterius, except that he calls stuff. He calls some more enemies around him. He doesn't dash at you quite like Asterius does. But he's a lot more predictable, I think. The only real trick is whenever he does his, like these little things, they have a countdown timer, and if you let them stack up, it becomes increasingly harder because they throw out an area of effects weapon. And you can't really dodge it unless you dash. And those guys I have to kill fast too, because otherwise, while I'm fighting Hades, I have to respawn with this other dude. He gets to respawn. All right, first round done. So whenever you fight him, you have to go through 2 different rounds depending on the difficulty, and even more later.
Out of my sight. You wish to anger me.
Sure. Well, these things suck because if you touch them, you actually get your health gets sucked down to pretty much nothing instantly. Come on, take it out. We're still alright, even if he does take me down right now. Which is nice if I don't have to use that. Staying away from him is usually the best move. That just means I'll have to go Super Saiyan on your butt. Like whenever Vegeta or Goku are about to lose, they start calling for everyone to give them strength. Ah, you dead, bro.
For students of Achilles, I fear that you surpassed even his.
So from the top corner here, you can see that I have 12. That means I've increased the difficulty a little bit on each end. Woohoo! We beat the boss.
I'm very sore right now.
Ooh. So in the end time, our clear time was 32 minutes and 30 seconds. So our goal was 35 minutes, but it looks like the cube finished way before then. So I hit my goal, but the cube didn't do what it wanted to, or did what it wanted to. Thank you for joining me tonight. This was a first-time stream. I'd love any feedback. If you've liked what you've seen today, please consider giving me a follow and a like. Join us for next episode. Thank you.